Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about distance between points in the coordinate plane. We're going to talk about horizontal distance and vertical distance. For horizontal distance, the y coordinates are going to be the same, so the points are going to be left to right. We're going to talk about when they're on the same side of the axis and opposite sides of the axis. So in these first two, they are on the same side. So here's my point right here, and here's one right here. Now, when you're given a graph, you can simply count the units in between, making sure to pay attention to the scale of the graph. So, for example, this one counts by ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4 units is going to be the distance between the points on this graph. Now, down here, it says to write the ordered pair. So we're going to talk about how to find it if you don't have a graph. So if I have -5, -4, and -1, -4, and I know that the y coordinates are the same, I'm going to use the x coordinates to find the distance. The distance between the points is going to be 5 minus 1, which is 4 units. Because remember, that distance cannot be negative, so we're taking the absolute value of those 2 points. In number 2, again, I'm counting in between P and Q. This graph goes by ones, so 1, 2, 3 units. And if I do the same thing and write the ordered pairs, so -5, -2, and then -2, -2. My y's are the same, so I'm going to use x. And 5 minus 2 is 3 units. In number 3, I'm on opposite sides of the y-axis, so I'm here and here. Again, this graph counts by ones, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So if I've got -4, 2 and 1, 2, I can see that the y coordinates are still the same. So I'm going to use the x's, but this time I'm going to notice that the x's have opposite signs, so I'm going to add them together. 4 plus 1 is 5 units. The same thing will happen over here. So 1, 2, 3 units, because it counts by ones. And then if I do the same thing here, -2, 1, and 1, 1, the ones are the same, so I'm using the x's. They are opposite signs, so I'm going to add them together. 2 plus 1 is 3 units. So the next part says, look at the 4 problems above and write a rule for finding horizontal distance between any 2 points in the coordinate plane. So in the coordinate plane, if the y coordinates are the same, use the x coordinates. If the signs are the same, take the absolute value and subtract. If the signs are different, take the absolute value and add. So the next example says, find the horizontal distance between -3, 4, and 7, 4. So again, my y value is the same, so I'm going to use x. My signs are the opposite, so I'm going to do 7 plus 3 is 10 units. Down here, the 6's are again the same, so I'm going to use the x's. These are the same signs, so I'm going to subtract. 7.75 minus 3.25 is 4.5 units. Vertical distance is going to be very similar, only this time the x's are the same. So now we're going up and down on the grid. So here I'm going to count from here to here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 units. And again, distance is not negative. So even though we're counting up and down, it's still positive distance. If I've got 3, -1 and 3, -5, I can see that the x's are the same. So I'm going to use my y coordinates. They are the same sign. So I'm going to take the absolute value and subtract. So 4 units. Notice that I did 5 - 1 instead of 1 - 5 because distance cannot be negative. I'm finding the positive distance between these two things every single time. Over here, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. And then I've got 2, 1 and 2, -4. So my x coordinates are the same this time. So I'm going to use 1 and 4. Those signs are the opposite. So 1 + 4 is 5 units. Now, when you're given the graph, you do not have to do it both ways every single time. I'm just showing you how those two answers are related, how we can find them using both the graph and not using the graph as well. So that when we get to ones like 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, you are able to do them without plotting them on the graph. I'm going to look specifically at 9 and 10 here for a second. So it says find the distance between the points. Is it a horizontal or a vertical line? So if I want to answer this question, I'm going to go back to which coordinates are the same. So in this one, the x coordinates are the same. If the x coordinates are the same, that's going to be vertical distance. Okay, so the x coordinates up here are the same, x's are the same. That means the points are going to sit on top of each other in the coordinate plane. So this is going to be vertical distance. That means I'm going to look at my y values. I'm going to say, okay, are they the same sign or the opposite sign? They are the same sign. So I'm going to do 1 1/3 minus 2/3, which is 4/3 minus 2/3, which is the same as 2/3 units. Okay, this one would not have been convenient to put on a graph unless I want to count thirds of units, which is completely up to you. You could do it on a graph, but you can also do it by adding or subtracting the values as needed. Number 10 says find the distance between -3.5, -2, and 0.5, -2. This is going to be horizontal distance. So y coordinates are the same. So this is going to be horizontal distance. My two signs here are opposites. So I'm going to do 3.5 plus 0.5, and I get 4 units. Okay, so if the x coordinates are the same, it's vertical distance. If the y coordinates are the same, it's horizontal distance. If the signs are the same, you're going to subtract. If the signs are different, you are going to add.